Civilian distinction. In war, there's a hard line between people who fight and people who don't. Soldiers, tanks, and bases are legitimate targets. But families at home, kids in school, or people shopping in a market, those are off limits. The whole point of this rule is to protect everyday life from being turned into a battlefield. If you're not fighting, you shouldn't have to pay the price of war. Medical protection. Medical workers and places that treat the wounded are protected. Think about doctors, nurses, ambulances, hospitals. These are safe zones. They're there to help the injured, whether they're friend or enemy. Shooting at an ambulance or bombing a hospital destroys the only chance of survival for people who are already suffering. Even in the chaos of war, this line has to be respected. Ban on torture. When a fighter is captured, the fight is over for them. That means no torture, no humiliation, no cruel punishment. They must be treated like human beings, not like punching bags. This rule matters because it stops war from turning into pure revenge. Once someone is out of combat, they're no longer a threat, and the law says they deserve dignity, not abuse. Banned weapons. Certain weapons are completely banned, like chemical gas, poison, or biological attacks. Why? Because they don't stop with the battlefield. They spread to civilians, animals, even the environment, leaving damage for years. A bullet or a bomb ends with the fight, but gas or disease keeps hurting people who had nothing to do with the war. That's why these weapons are not allowed under any circumstances. Cultural protection. Cultural and religious sites must be protected. Churches, mosques, temples, museums, and monuments are part of people's identity. Destroying them is like trying to erase who someone is. Even if two sides hate each other, their culture isn't a weapon. Unless a cultural site is being used directly for military purposes, it must stay untouched. Rule of proportionality. This rule is about balance. Yes, attacks can happen, but the harm to civilians can't outweigh the military advantage. For example, if one soldier is hiding in a building, you can't level an entire city block to get him. That's considered excessive. The idea is that the response has to make sense, not cause massive destruction for a small military gain. Prisoner protection. Prisoners of war are protected. They must be given food, water, shelter, and safety until they're released. No torture, no starvation, no humiliation. The goal is to remind everyone that even if you fought on opposite sides once captured, you're still human and deserve humane treatment. Forced recruitment ban. No forced fighters and absolutely no child soldiers. War is already brutal enough for adults who actually chose to fight. Dragging civilians into combat against their will or arming kids who should be in school is against the law. Combatants must be adults who joined willingly, not people pushed into battle. Neutrality, respect. Neutral countries and humanitarian groups are untouchable. If you see a Red Cross or Red Crescent symbol, it means safety. These groups provide food, medicine, and shelter. Attacking them would be like kicking away the lifeboat during a storm. Neutral spaces are one of the few protections left in war, and they must be respected. Collective punishment ban. You can't punish an entire group for what a few individuals did. If one fighter breaks the rules, that doesn't give anyone the right to destroy his whole town or harm his family. Collective punishment only spreads suffering to people who did nothing wrong, and that's exactly what the laws of war are trying to prevent.